it would say spending money and then nothing there. Money was spent. Money was spent. Welcome back to Wine and Chill. I'm Stephanie, and we're doing my April student loan update. If you're new, every month I do a retroactive of how much I paid towards my 6-figure student loans. So this is what I paid for March. So today I figured, since I just got back a few weeks ago from Kenya for my birthday, it's amazing, highly recommend the vlog. Hopefully by the time this comes out, the vlog will at least be out on Patreon, and then a shortened version will come out on YouTube. If not, y'all can just fuss at me in the comments. Not like fuss, but kindly reminders. Now that I've gotten back, one of the things in the last student loan update people were asking for is a budget video. So I figured it'd be helpful if we did a basic budget video on how to build a budget, how I've been learning over the past 4 years how to build a budget, but more importantly, how to stick to a budget. That has been a really, really rough learning lesson, but that is literally the only reason why I've been able to pay off in 2 years around $140,000 worth of student loans. Not the only reason, one of the main reasons. The other big reason being because I make enough money at work now. Which y'all are about to see when I didn't make any money at work when I used to make $2,100 a month. Yes, with a law degree. Yes, living struggle life in New York. So let's talk about it. So before we get into the budget part, let's go through the student loan update. My starting amount with my student loans was $304,680.17 trifling cents. The amount I paid in March was $4,684. And that leaves the remainder, what I started with this month in April, at $179,345.97 trifling cents still owed. I am marching along to the halfway point. The halfway point is 150 in my mind. The halfway point really is $152,340.08. So I'm getting close. I'm not going to hit it in April, but by the summer, hopefully, I'll have hit it. So that's exciting. I'm trying to count the little things, child, to keep me on this journey. All right. Let's get into the budget. No exciting updates because I'm paying student loan $15,000 and that student loan started at $57,000. So it'll be a hot second before I get to that payoff. Or if YouTube continues to do well, maybe it'll be sooner. Maybe. All right. So first and foremost, thanks. Shout out to my best friend, Shayna. Shout out to my twinnie, because in 2018, she sent me this budget tracker. And for the past 4 years, I have used the same exact budget template she sent me, which is from the Numbers app. I think the Numbers app comes with a template, and then she maybe changed it around a little bit and then taught me how to use it. That's where I use it. So if you have a Mac, it comes with the Numbers app and you can do it on there. There are so many free budget templates available. So my thing is, just find one that you like, where you're used to the aesthetic, it works for you. That's all that really matters, because the more you like it, the more you'll look at it. And the more you look at it, the more most likely you'll stick to it. Okay. So in the year of 2018, I was working in entertainment, miserable, had recently graduated law school, passed the bar, and was a quote unquote entertainment lawyer, making a whopping $2,100 a month. 2-1. Every paycheck, $1,500 every 2 weeks. Cha. That math is not right. It's $1,050 every 2 weeks. Y'all know math is not my ministry. So I remember two videos ago, my math was wrong, and one of you kindly, this was such a kind way to tell somebody Stephanie, this is not right. It was hey, how did you arrive to that? I wasn't following. And I rewatched it and I was that math is very wrong. That was such a nice, sis, it's not correct. So then I had to update the video. So I appreciate that. Before we even go through all of this, at the height of my legal career, which I recently quit, I left the law, to hell with it, was tired, I made $165,000. At the beginning of my legal career, I made $30,000 a year. Around $25,000, if that, after taxes. It was rough living in New York City. It was rough. So the first thing in getting doing the prep for this video and doing the research on my own self was, I've come a long way. So before you beat yourself up, it is the fact of recognizing that you've come a long way. And so sometimes I feel like I really lose sight of that. When you're paying down an exorbitant amount of student loans, it is very easy to get student loan fatigue. It is very easily to become somewhat depressed, to be honest, about money. I've gone through bouts of mild depression. It's just sad. It's sad to be giving away $4,000 or $5,000 a month. It's sad. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not going towards anything useful. It doesn't give me any joy. So looking back on where you've come from, as if you have 6-figure loans, or I would say $50K or more, because that does take a hot sec to pay off, well, you deserve some credit. So kudos to you for not falling off. It's kind of wild to me to remember how I survived in New York City on this. The main thing being, this is 100% would not have been possible without the love and literal support of my grandparents. When I took this job, I told them I was going to make little to no money, and I could only take this job if they would kindly let me live with them, which they did. So thank you, Grandma and Grandpa. I love you. Without them, I would have never been able to take this job. And this was my dream job. I wanted to work at this place so bad. I did not care that I was getting pennies. Pennies. This only worked because I didn't pay real rent. You'll see the rent. You see the rent line, $200 a month. Yes, my grandparents were like, okay, but you need to learn how to pay bills out of your own money. Which at first, I'm not going to lie, my grandpa and I got into a discussion, not an argument. First of all, I would never. I value my life. Got into discussion because I was like, what? First of all, it's a minuscule amount of money. Y'all have a house. It's not even actually going towards real things. And he was like, that is the point of you need to learn how to pay your own money towards bills, because up until then, I had been floating my life with student loan money, which is how I got into this problem. So it took me a hot second. It took me a while to realize that the gift that was of, oh, this is money I earned that I had to go to work 12 hours for that day and make nothing, and to give them some money. And then I also like groceries and stuff. So I think actually, let's just go through the progress. As you can see, the majority of my little baby check went towards saving towards an apartment, because I knew that I was going to leave that job. I had been in that job for a year at that point, and I was like, okay, I'm saving towards an apartment. I could never get an apartment with that job. I wouldn't get approved. In New York, to get approved, you have to make, I think it's 50 times more than the rent per month. Yeah. 50 times more than the rent. That's what you have to make. So if you want to live somewhere that costs $2,000, 2,000 times 50 is $100,000. Which, yes, my first studio in New York cost me $1,500. So for the $1,500 studio, you have to make 50 times more the rent, is $75,000. Child, I made $30,000. I would never have gotten approved. They're like, girl, negative. You can't live up in here. Which is hard. And again, I could only take that job because my grandparents let me live with them. So this was the original budget. I did not stick to this budget. I'm going to be very honest. This was one of those okay, the first thing you do when you have a budget, you write out your fixed expenses. You write out the extra things you want to do. As you can see, the protein that I bought every month, you see how it's written there? And there's no amount next to it, because I was like, well, I wrote it down. My nails. I used to get my nails done. They don't get done anymore. But I did used to get them done every once in a while. Didn't write that down. The wax. Yeah, is what it is. Why does it say $0? It wasn't free. I didn't really know how to properly use the budget. Citibank, TD Bank, Capital One, those are all credit cards. Yeah, I had a lot of credit card debt at that point, which, let's fast forward to December of 2018, where I finally got a new job. My first 6-figure job, I made $105,000 as commercial counsel at this tech company, and I thought I had made it, child. I was like, oh, I've made it. $100,000, which is always a debate that my friends send me, is going on the Twitter. $100K in New York doesn't go the places you think it's going to go. It doesn't. I was very taken aback that turned out into $5,688 a month. The taxes are so high. City, state, and federal tax in New York. So the tax ate the most of my check. But even with that, I was like, that's fine. I'm gonna make it. Now, as you can see, there goes my rent, the $1,500 for the studio. I moved into that studio. I think December was my first month. Was the first full month I lived there. I was so excited. There goes my phone bill. there goes groceries. And yeah, I didn't budget anything else. I don't know what happened. When I tell you it took a second, it took many years for me to realize, how is this actually supposed to work? And I was like, well, the things are paid. At that point, as you can see, I added the box of realization and of honesty, which was, Stephanie, you have all this credit card debt. If you look on here, there is no mention of my student loans. When I tell you I was ducking and dodging them. I was like, I don't have any money. I can't give you all this money. I have to pay these credit cards. The credit card interest is like 27%. So at that point, I had to realize, okay, I have to pay this credit card. As you can see, total owed in credit card debt, December 2018, $8,822.95. It's kind of wild to see because I don't have credit card debt anymore. Everything is paid off in full. If not the same month, then the next month, but I budgeted out to make sure that it is paid off in full. That credit card debt used to stress me out. Those credit card bills used to stress me out. All right, that's 2018. And we're just going to go through the years because I think it's helpful to see for myself. But also for y'all, the progress of, if you're not getting it right, that's okay. It's fine. What matters is that if you keep trying until you do get what works for you. That's what I realized. So let's go to the following year, December of 2019. All right. I'm slowly getting my life together. I have filled out the budget now a little bit better. Okay. So significantly more money. I went from making $105,000 to $155,000. So then you see the paycheck go to $7,000 a month, which I was like, okay, we have money. Now we have expenses. We have the gym. What expensive gym was I going to? I started going to the expensive gym down the street. The gym before, I was the $10 gym. The following year, it was Planet Fitness. So FedDirect, here you go. Me finally paying. That was my minimum payment for Fed loan. I didn't even know it was called Fed loan, as you can tell. I was like, student loan too? I was like, I owe money, I guess. Here's a minimum payment. That's not even the correct name of the company. It's fine. And I tell you I have come a long way, I have come a long way. And if I can come a long way, you can come a long way. You have the electric on here, the gym, the groceries, things that are missing. See how this says spending money? I knew that I was supposed to budget what the spending money was. I didn't budget for it, which is why the credit cards, even though I paid off Citibank, I paid off Capital One, I paid off TD Bank, there still was $7,000 owed to Chase. Because anything that wasn't in the budget, I would just swipe it on the credit card. So the credit card would grow and I would pay it a little bit, and the credit card would grow and then I would pay it, and it would grow and I would pay it. And we were kind of just doing a dance. So in 2020, before the pandemic started, I told myself I was going to finally get all of my shit together and start paying off my student loans. And then February 2020, look, the Chase Bank is going down $5,200. Then March 2020, $2,200 owed. And then I believe it was by May of 2020, I had paid off all my credit cards, which was great. So yes, by May of 2020. Also by then we were in a panorama. So it was a little bit easier because nobody was going outside, particularly in New York. Everyone was terrified. You weren't allowed to go outside. We had curfew, commotion was happening. So that forced me to focus. And then I finally started to pay off my student loans. So you can see here in May 2020. So then I started to number it. Student loan 1, $2,755, and the goal was to pay $5,065 every month towards my student loans. So now this is 2 years after starting budgeting. I finally figured out kind of how to do it. Kind of. And so we can start with my most recent one. The biggest things when budgeting and how to stay on your budget. All right. So we'll now look at my 2022 budget. Because now the money's gone lower because, I make less now. But that's okay. Not too much less. We can look at this month. This month, the math is perfect. I'm skeptical. So I probably did something wrong here. It's never even. It's always either there's money left over or there's money missing. I rarely get it right. It's interesting. I would say I'm very proud of my current self and my current budgeting because I actually stick with it. The way that I do it, so money in, money out. The money in is my paycheck after my 401k. I finally, the end of 2019, started investing in my 401k. Before then, child, not a red cent was in there. Not a red cent. There is a nice coin in there, which makes me happy because when I get to $0 owed, my net worth won't be $0. It will be whatever my investments are at the time, which is glad. Also, my net worth is going to hit $0 long before I get to $0 owed. because your net worth is assets minus your liabilities. So when you build out a budget, whether you use the Numbers app to build out yours or you use something else, you're going to write out all of your fixed expenses. Your fixed expenses are things that do not change over the month. Your rent or your mortgage. Which if you have a mortgage, child, if you're looking for a house right now, I'll pray for you. This looks rough. Your rent or your mortgage, your phone bill. Yes, my phone bill is $22. I have a very cheap phone bill. The reason being, it's one of those like fringe phone bills that you get through your cable provider because they're like trying to test it out. The service is good like 98% of the time. Gabriel's always teasing me and I'm like, I don't care. The phone bill is great. It's low and I like it. Altima. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. I can't remember the name of it. Altice Mobile, $22. Highly recommend. Remember the service, if someone needs to reach me, they'll find a way. I have student loans for Piet. It is what it is. So the phone bill doesn't change. The gym doesn't change. MTA I have on there. I barely get on the train, especially now. Stay safe out there if you live in New York. We're living rough. And I would say, so those are the majority. I would count my protein cookie dough as a fixed expense. I'm obsessed with it. It is amazing. And it makes me happy. So once a month I do buy it. So yes. And then everything else, things that like move virtual mail is fixed expense. Now that I'm looking on here, you know what's not on here? Actually, I was so proud of myself until I saw Adobe Premiere Pro is not on here. So that actually should go on here because it's a fixed expense. It's the same amount every month. I need to just buy the annual. Which will make more sense. Internet is also a fixed expense. So you're going to write out all the things you know don't change. And then you write out things that are necessities, but that can fluctuate. Groceries, for example, would go under there. Transportation might fall under that category for you depending on the gas prices. Yes, for those of you that have to drive. The inflation is wild. Yeah, that would probably ruin my budget. The gas craziness. And then you're going to budget the fun stuff. So what I did wrong the first, I want to say 3 years of attempting to get like my money together, I never budgeted the fun stuff. Like as you saw before, it would say spending money and then nothing there. Money was spent. That's what I had credit card debt. Money was spent and not accounted for. I was like, well, I can't see it. It's not, it's whatever. So for spending money, it says $50. It's not, you know what? Now that I look at this, I'm like, oh, this is calling me out. I'll probably update that. Some days I stick with the spending, that's what's missing. It's not on this one. It's on, this is good. I'm glad we're actually doing this exercise. I need to update this. In February, see how it says spending money and eating out has its own separate section? For some reason in March, I was like, I will always eat at home. That didn't happen. Child, that did not happen. You should write out spending money for me. I usually count it as if I'm going to buy like earrings or a top. I don't buy pants. I don't believe in pants. That to me is like, that's what is my mind as spending money. And then I have like a miscellaneous section of like whatever nonsense will just go in there. Eating out is a category you should have in yours because you're eating out. I'm eating out. Like, child, this is actually incorrect. So it's good for me to be honest with myself. So I need to adjust it, for that. So I like to do it. Write down everything so then you have a whole picture. And then I like to budget by paycheck. I find it so much easier because then I can right size everything. So you'll see I get 2 paychecks a month. They are 2 different amounts because we get a work from home stipend at the end of the month at my job. So the second paycheck is higher. And when you're doing your paycheck, remember to do after your 401k. If you have 401k or 401(b) or your investment, so that way you can get the actual amount of money after taxes that's in your bank account. So fun things that were on here, I check everything off after I pay it usually, and then I guess I forget sometimes. You know when you're so used to doing something, you're like, I'm doing so great at this. And I'm looking at it like, girl, you need to clean this up. I'm going to clean it up. This is good. This is a good exercise. I'm glad we're doing this together. Yeah. So the birthday trip, I paid with points. I used points for 3 of the hotel nights. Yes, for 3 of the hotel nights, I used points, which I'll do a separate budget I'll do a separate video. Maybe we'll do May's video on how to budget for a vacation. But I did use credit card points. So if you know how to utilize credit properly, you get the sign-up bonuses for traveling, which, full transparency, clearly 2018, 2019 me did not know how to use credit properly, didn't have any business using the credit card. 2022 me has better sense. Maybe not the best sense, better sense though. And yeah, so I get the credit card bonuses. So 3 of the nights for the hotels we didn't pay for. We used the credit card points, which was great. And I also saved up money for that trip. So you'll see here, there's a travel fund section where it says $100. I have an Ally savings account. I highly recommend them for one specific reason. It's a high yield savings account. High yield is not what it used to be. They give you like 0.6% of interest. So of money you get back. It's like a couple dollars a month. But Ally does buckets, which I really like. So I'll put that on the screen. So you can just bucket, you can separate out the money in the account. So I have a travel fund. So every month I put $100 in there. Or if I have a trip coming up, I'll allocate more money towards that. So that way when the trip comes up, it's not like, oh, this entire check has to, well, first of all, I have to eat, but like, oh, I have to redo this entire month's budget to fit this trip. It's a lot easier. It's more so like, oh, how much money is in the travel fund? Okay, I can use all of that money and like the points. And I did use, some of the money that I earned from YouTube towards my birthday. So very exciting. Also, picture of Kenya here. Shout out to Mount Kilimanjaro. I miss her. Mount Kilimanjaro is the largest freestanding mountain in the world. Stunning, beautiful. Words cannot describe the loving hug that I feel like she gives you when you're in her presence. So just to be a woo-woo for a second. But yes, so then you do it by paycheck. So like you can see with paycheck 1 is like my bigger student loan payment versus paycheck 2 is a little bit less because with paycheck 2, the rent is due. That rhymed. And yeah, groceries. Some months I stick to this and some months I don't. I really should update it. Because some months I'm doing like so well with the groceries and some months, child, we are doing nonsense. We are buying everything. Also with inflation, the grocery budget has a life of its own and it's definitely fluctuating. So actually I should probably update that. Definitely. Last month, I think I spent like $300 in groceries versus the $200 I was supposed to spend. Whenever I overspend, it's always easy to see because I use the same card and you can, like, if you have Chase, you can see things by spending category. So it's very easy to be like, it's very easy to check yourself. Do I always go back and check myself? No, I do it like twice a year. I want to try and make it a habit of checking the categories every month. I think that'll keep me more and more on track. The biggest things that I've learned about budgeting is if you don't get it perfect, because I don't think there's been a month, like again, see how I told you the math was wrong? It says the math is right. We started going through the numbers and I'm missing things. So the math is wrong. It's wrong again. It's not about getting it perfect. I hit for like a 85, 90%. If I do this 85 to 90% of what I said I was going to do, I'm really on track. If I'm off by a couple $100, like, okay, that means next month I just readjust it to account for the couple $100 I overspent. Or if I'm child, I have yet to be under. During 2020, I was under on my budget a lot. That's why during 2020, I was able to pay off so much student loans because we were not going outside. Now your girl is outside some of these days. Well, not recently, but now with summer coming in New York, I will be outside. So I would say the best way to account for that and also reminding myself is to write out like, okay, the eating out line, the eating out item line I need to add in there. But also I might just add like a brunch line or a line of, friends, out with friends or something like or going out, like a going out item line because it's going to happen. It's going to happen anyway. Like I'm going outside. I am going outside unless, something happens. I'm ready. I love the summer. So the more you can account for things, the better you can allocate your money where you want it to go versus your money controlling you. Because before, I would say like 2018, 2019, even 2021, even 2020, like the beginning of it, it was very much, I was kind of afraid of my money because I'd just been a bad steward of my money. I didn't know what I was doing. This is the person who has admitted to you numerous times that yes, I ignored my student loans for 4 years. As you can see, it said Fed Direct. Who is Fed Direct? Who? I don't know them people. They don't know me. I owe Fed Loan. I don't know who Fed Direct is. But it's okay. Like, You just have to keep going. And I find that, like with anything, if you get frustrated and you feel like you're bad at it, then you don't want to do it. But you kind of have to push past that feeling. Because the more you do it, the more I feel very confident about my budget. Is it loud and wrong? Yeah, sometimes, as we just saw. But is it that wrong? Not really. It's actually not that off. The math is mostly mathing, which is good. So on that note, I hope y'all, can use all of my missteps as a way to hopefully show you that if I could do it, you could totally do it. And yes, taking into account that I used to make nothing. And now because I have a law degree, I finally am getting paid my worth. Yes. Is that very expensive student loan bill paying off? Debatable. I'm still mad about it, but it is what it is. We're getting there. My student loans will be paid off soon. I can see the light. I can see the light. I couldn't see the light at $304,000 owed. I really couldn't. And part of being able to see the light is being able to look at the budget and see, okay, I'll be here on this date. I should be here. I should be here. I should be here. I should be here. One of the things that's not shown that we didn't really discuss, and we can do like a separate video on if y'all want, is before I started paying off my student loans, I did do an emergency fund of 3 months. I think I started with a 3-month emergency fund. My emergency fund now, and then at one point it dropped. It was very low. I think we did a video on that where I was like, actually, I got a lot of anxiety when I started paying off my student loans and was like, I should just put more money towards the student loans. So then the emergency fund went down to like a month. Don't do that. That gave me more anxiety. So then I saved up a bunch of money again. So now I have a properly funded emergency fund. But yeah, that's the only other thing that's like not in here. So on that note, I hope this was helpful. I will catch y'all in the next video.